So you're thinking about making the move to Chagrin Falls, Ohio, but you want to know the good and the bad, the pros and the cons, the yin and the yang? Well, we're going to cover that in today's video here because we get calls all the time from people just like yourself trying to figure out where the right fit for them is in Cleveland or whether that's a suburb outside of Cleveland. So we're going to take a deep dive here today, give you a bunch of information. And when you give us that call, we'll take a big look on the real estate side of things to figure out if Chagrin Falls is the right spot for you. Hang on tight. We're going to get started right now. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is about living in Cleveland, Ohio, make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so that you can be notified when we upload a video and stay current on all things Cleveland. My name is Kip Sweeney with Living in Cleveland, powered by Mancuso Homes, and we get called by people every single day, just like yourself, looking to move in 9 days or 9 months. No matter what it is, we're here to assist you and make that transition as smooth as possible. My contact information is in the description box below. Feel free to schedule a call, give me a text, an email, whatever it may be, and let's help you get to the right city in Cleveland, Ohio. But for now, we're taking a look at Chagrin Falls, Ohio. The first pro for today is the close-knit community. Chagrin Falls only has a population of about 4,000 plus, just over 4,000. People know each other, and it's a very village atmosphere. And you'll see this when you kind of see the photos and the videos of the downtown Chagrin. You'll kind of see and get that feeling of it from the video, from the vlogs, and so on. But the close-knit community is great because a lot of people show up to these festivities, to the festivals and the parades that Chagrin Falls frequently has. But it brings a lot of newcomers as well. So one example, just because we're getting into that season, it's fall time here. This may come out after Halloween, but what might be coming around the corner is the annual pumpkin roll. So teenagers and newcomers and locals all alike, they get together and they do an annual pumpkin roll down Grove Hill, which is just a steep hill just outside the center of the downtown area of Chagrin Falls. It started, the history behind it, kind of funny, but I don't know, I find it humorous. It started in 1969 by the class of 69, where they rolled down 69 pumpkins down the hill. That's where it started. The tradition kept on afterwards, and what happens each year is that the students know they're gonna get a ticket for dumping, and what happens is that they start to collect money. Basically, they get donations, they do fundraisers for this so that they can pay that ticket and keep this tradition alive, right? So it's kind of a community feel, community event where everyone knows what's going to happen. Everyone understands there's going to be a ticket, but yet people come together to make sure that this ticket is paid and this tradition can be kept alive, which is very cool. I think that's very unique. So the next pro that I want to talk about is the historic downtown area of Chagrin Falls, Ohio. And this comes, even though I mentioned that it has a smaller population, Chagrin Falls is very, very popular because of this historic downtown, this village atmosphere. The downtown, it has many local businesses, which is really nice to see, and good ones. So they have restaurants, some bars, not as many, and then local things like Chagrin Falls popcorn, they have ice cream, and they have Cuffs, which is a local clothing shop for suits, ties, anything that you need, really. They can do tailoring, all of that type of stuff. But again, it's local cooking classes, all of these things that are just unique to downtown Chagrin Falls in a sense. I mean, they have some franchises outside of Chagrin Falls, but it all adds to the history and the historic feel of downtown Chagrin Falls. Along with the business side of things, they also have some parks, some areas for you to go and have fun, take your dogs, go for walks, go on trails, and it also borders the Chagrin River, which is a very beautiful and scenic spot. You'll see it in this video. There's going to be videos and photos of it, but it's very scenic and it's very pretty. And you can have dinner on a patio right outside of it if that's something you enjoy, or across from it and you can see it from a view. And of course, you can also walk it and take trails that are next to it. So it's a very pretty, very calming area. It's very busy at the same time. You do have that traffic that comes there. You're gonna have street parking for the most part, some parking lots, but nothing too crazy, nothing too large, but it does make it for a very fun time, a day of differing events. A lot of the time, there's a lot of different festivals that take place. There's Blossom, which you're gonna hear two Blossoms probably, or if you know Ohio, you've heard it, but there's one Blossom that's further away. It hosts a lot of different concerts, but then there's the Blossom Festival, which is Chagrin Falls. And that's just your typical community festival, right? You're gonna have your popcorn, your cotton candy, your rides, the games, all of that stuff. And it takes place in one of the parks that is right center of downtown Chagrin Falls. which is really, really fun. It's a great time. It goes on for about a little over a weekend. It just brings everyone outside Chagrin Falls, plus the locals, to this area. It's a very, very fun time, and a lot of people really enjoy it. And it brings a lot of business as well, which is great because, again, it's downtown Chagrin Falls, so people go to the surrounding businesses, restaurants, and parks. So if you bring your kids, you let them have fun there, and then you go maybe have date night, or you go and enjoy dinner, or whatever else that you may want to do, or have fun with them at the festival. It's totally up to you, obviously. So it's a really fun time, and you can never go wrong going down there. Along with the parades and the historic downtown atmosphere, you have beautiful architecture, but you also have a local farmers market that's there every single Sunday morning through the summertime. They pack up for the winter. I think they're about to end here later October. Along with the historic downtown, I talked about the food, the restaurants, things of that nature, but you also have your parks, you have your hiking trails, you have a lot of different space that you're gonna be able to go ahead and just enjoy yourself at. And you have a lot of natural beauty around you. It brings a lot of photographers to the area. You also have horseback riding. You're not going to be taking your horses onto the trails that are public to everyone else, but you have horseback riding areas, barns and stables where you're going to be able to go, and if you have interest in horses and having that, then you will have the capability to have them there and go and take care of them, ride them, and so on, give them that activity. You have your bike trails, your just walking trails, and everything of that nature. So going on with that scenic atmosphere, you can see that theme throughout Chagrin Falls. So even outside of the downtown area, you're gonna see it with the community, right? A lot of people kind of give it that New England vibe. You have the tree-lined streets, you have the historic homes, and just a walkable downtown, which is a lot of fun. It makes it very easy for the locals to get around. And even if you want to, you can park, and you're gonna be able to walk around downtown very easily without any concern. And you're going to be able to find something for everyone while you're there. But the community, the homes, all of that, they have that same vibe. Everything kind of works hand in hand. So you have the older style homes, you have some new construction happening right now, but it does not take away from the historic downtown, the historic homes, and the tree-lined streets, and just the walkable areas. You're gonna find sidewalks, some bike lanes, and you're gonna find people outdoors pretty often, whether that is walking on the sidewalk, or people cycling, or people going downtown to go to the parks or to other local parks in the area. You're gonna see a lot of activity and a lot of people, which does lead us to one of our cons, can be the traffic. It's nothing crazy. It's not like you're gonna be sitting around for forever, but you're gonna see an increased amount of traffic, a lot of people. You're gonna see it during kind of the rush hour times as well. You're gonna see the traffic build up, but it's nothing too hectic, nothing too crazy that is gonna make you frustrated or angry or anything like that. Maybe a delay of 10 minutes, right? Nothing awful. But again, with that and with the work comment, I want to touch on how Chagrin doesn't really have that much business side of things. It doesn't have really those big time jobs that you may need a larger city for. So you will need to maybe drive outside of Chagrin Falls to get to your job, which many people already do. It's very common, but it's just something to note. If you need to be right next to your job, right next to the business, it may not be the right fit. But Chagrin Falls being pretty much on the outskirts of Cleveland, one of the further suburbs outside of Cleveland, it will take a little bit longer for you to get downtown if you are working in downtown Cleveland. So that's also something to keep in mind. But on the flip side of that, depending on where you are in Chagrin Falls, you can always run to a city nearby that may just make it a little easier when it comes to parking, getting in and out. Sure, it could be 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes a little further away, but it might be something that you face and a decision that you have to make because of the increased traffic that can come with Chagrin Falls, with maybe the festivals that come and bring a lot of outside activity, things of that nature. So it's something that you're gonna wanna pay attention to, and that might be a negative, is just having to think, okay, what am I about to drive into every single time that you go downtown, or every single time you wanna go grab something really quick? Maybe you don't want that mindset. Maybe you don't wanna have to think, hey, is it a holiday today? Is there a festival today? Is there an event today? That's something that might be a little bit of a negative to you. Now, if it's something you don't mind thinking about before going out, or maybe you just do Instacart and it's not a problem, whatever it may be, then perfect. But it's something that you do need to keep in mind that could just kind of disrupt your day. All right, so we've spoken about the tight-knit community and the smaller population and the historic downtown, and all of this packing a very strong punch, even though it is a little smaller. You can always find something to do, whether that's to be outside and go on the trails, go to a local restaurant, or just go to one of the parades or festivals that they have throughout the year. You're always gonna find something to do. But something I wanna touch on are also the schools. So I can't speak too heavily on this because of being a real estate agent, but I advise you to go to niche.com or greatschools.org, because this is a pro. they are rated highly. And you're gonna see strong academics, you're gonna see strong extracurricular activities with smaller class sizes, and also very strong sports too, if that's something that your children may be interested in. These all kind of build this really strong community feel as well within the school. You have a lot of classmates and locals showing up to the sports games. You have a lot of locals and classmates, once again, volunteering or partaking in whatever the school activities are, whether that's a fundraiser, a community event, whatever it may be. Everyone really does come together and get involved in some manner, which is very, very nice, and it's something that is fun to see. But along with that, all the schools are located pretty close to living, and they really kind of immerse themselves into the area, so you'll see a lot of kids walking or biking home with their friends and classmates. You do have buses, and you do have carpool or parents picking them up because they're a little further away or they're a little younger. But it's fun to see that people can still walk home and still get out, have that activity, and they're not on their phone on a bus or on their phone going home. They're at least with a friend or someone biking or walking. And it's cool to see that again before it gets too cold, when the winter does come and hits us hard. Along with the parades and the festivals and things of that nature, you also have a very strong history to Chagrin Falls that you can see through landmarks and obviously the architecture of the buildings. But there's a backstory that you can learn about, and that's something that brings a lot of interest from locals. Along with this is a strong artistic community. You can see and visit different art galleries, different studios, and art shows that come around each year, which brings a lot of activity. And along with the art shows and the galleries, there's also a local theater with live shows. Now, albeit it's local, so it's fun because you might know some people in these shows, but it's a fun time to go and to experience something like this. It's still, again, going back to the fact that even though the city is smaller, it packs a punch, it packs a lot. There's a lot to do within Chagrin Falls. But we need to jump into some of the cons because there are some big ones that we need to point out. So one of those cons being the price. The price of homes are pretty expensive. So we'll dive deeper into this in a vlog and you'll see the differing prices, but it's pretty pricey here. And not only that, being that it's a smaller town, smaller population, the amount of inventory isn't always the highest. Because of that, prices are higher, being that everyone wants to be there. So it's a higher demand with lower inventory. So these prices are higher, and it's a little bit more difficult to get into if you're a first-time home buyer, or maybe if it's just not within the budget. So there are some things that could fit in for everyone's budget, in my opinion, but sometimes getting those or finding those can be pretty difficult. So it's always something that you have to be ready for and prepared to purchase on the spot when that comes up, and you always have to be ready. So jumping into one of the cons is the cost of living. Being that it's a highly desirable area, and it's a smaller area, smaller city, smaller population, and along with the price of the home, you do have a higher property tax that is associated with these homes. So this is something that you need to take into consideration. Obviously, speaking to a lender, knowing, hey, what does that monthly budget look like? What does that monthly mortgage look like, depending on what you're purchasing, and where do we need to be comfortable in this home? That is one of the cons, the cost of living, the prices of these houses and of the taxes. With the amenities and the strong city, the strong schools, and all that it has to offer, you do get these higher prices and the higher demand, unfortunately. So yes, a small town community, tight-knit community can be a pro. One of the cons to that is the social circles that are created from it. It's not that it's gonna be something you can't break into, of course, because there are a ton of community events to get involved in and to be able to just meet these people and to get to know everyone. But depending on your personality type and who you are, it may not be something that you wanna deal with, or it may not be something that you enjoy. Or maybe you wanna be on a bigger stage and you wanna be in front of a ton of people. Maybe that's just who you are and you love that atmosphere, that energy and stuff like that. You may not get that in the smaller area, the smaller town. Sure, you're gonna have a ton of community events to meet new people from outside of Chagrin and all of that, but sometimes it might be a little daunting to try to meet those new people, the people that seem like they already have their circle and things like that. It can be a little intimidating, but again, you're gonna have the community events to do so. It's just a matter of whether or not that's something you wanna get into or stay out of. And that's totally up to you. So with it being a little smaller, you do miss out on some of the nightlife activity. You're not gonna find a club or anything like that in Chagrin Falls, but you can find some restaurants that be a nice nighttime activity. There's always something to do in Chagrin Falls. So there's no con about that, but the con is just depending on what your nightlife looks like and what it is that you're looking for, sometimes it could be a little difficult to find in Chagrin Falls. Again, it's a con, but there's still something for everyone to do there. But I will tell you, there's no club. So if you're clubbing, it's not gonna be the right spot for you. You're probably gonna have to go downtown for that, which again, leading to the next con, if that's the case, if you need to Uber, it can be a little longer of an Uber. So you just have to take note that that price is gonna be a little bit more expensive just because it's gonna take a little further to get down there. And so it's something that you'll have to keep in mind. But you still will find a couple bars that will be fun, that you can go and enjoy yourself at. So it just depends on what that atmosphere is that you're looking for. All right, we spoke a lot about the pros and cons of Chagrin Falls today. We talked about the small community, the tight-knit community, the strong schools, the historic downtown offering many activities with a lot of local businesses that you get to support, but also on the flip side, some of those negatives being the congestion and the traffic that might come about, especially during different times of the day, or whether there's a festival or a parade happening, as well as the cost of living being high with the higher property taxes as well. So having to take into consideration that budget and what it is that you're gonna be able to afford, but along with that, the inventory that comes with being a smaller area with a high demand. And finally, just the fact that it's a little further from downtown. So if you have to work at downtown, you might be making that longer drive every single day. If that's not, you might run into that traffic as well, but if it's not something that bothers you, then so be it. Just keep that in mind. It is one of the further away suburbs in Cleveland, Ohio, and it does have a distance with the lack of nightlife for the younger community and the younger generations. If they're looking for that clubs, again, you're gonna have to Uber downtown to make sure that you stay safe and that you get down there okay. But again, that money can rack up, being that it is a little further away. But other than that, overall, Chagrin Falls is a very charming place. It's something for all differing people, whether you're a retiree, again, a first-time home buyer, may be a little bit more difficult, or you're looking to upgrade and you're buying maybe your second house or your third house and your family is expanding. Everyone's going to find a niche within Chagrin Falls. You're gonna have that tight-knit community. You're gonna have those great schools and you're gonna have the ability to really make Chagrin Falls unique to yourself, to enjoy the differing activities and the differing things it has to offer, making sure that you're taking advantage of all that it has to offer while hopefully trying to avoid the negatives. If there's anything I missed, if there's anything you can think of, if you're from Cleveland or from around the area, and there's anything you want to add into this, put that down in the comments below so that we can continue to help others who are researching the areas learn as much as possible. I think that would be fantastic. Otherwise, I hope this helped. I hope this helped you make somewhat of a decision. Don't hesitate to email, give me a call, or shoot me a text. I'll be happy to help you figure out whether Chagrin Falls is the right fit for you and your family or somewhere else in Cleveland, Ohio. All right, for now, take care, and I'll see you.